For today's lesson, you're going to be looking at the water balance. This is the title you can put in your books. You can pause this video as you're working and then restart it when you're ready to move on to the next task. So the water balance is also referred to as the soil moisture budget or the water budget. And it basically describes the amount of moisture that is in the soil. It is influenced by the relationship between precipitation and evaporation. So when precipitation is higher than evaporation, there's going to be more water in the soil. And vice versa, when there's more evaporation than precipitation. When evaporation is higher, there's going to be less water in the soil. You can write these 2 points in your books. You won't have this diagram, but you can draw it out into your books and then add the labels. The solid blue line is the precipitation, and then the dashed line is evaporation. When the precipitation is higher than the evaporation, the pores in the soil will fill up with water via infiltration. Infiltration is one of the key terms that you put on your water cycle diagram last lesson. This is known as soil moisture recharge. When the soil becomes saturated, the pores will be full of water, so no more infiltration can occur, and this leads to increased surface runoff, which is another one of the key terms that you had on your water cycle diagram. This is known as soil moisture surplus. During this time, there can be increased risk of flooding if there is lots of rainfall. When evaporation becomes higher than precipitation, the plants will start to use the water that is stored in the soil. This is known as soil moisture utilisation. When it has all been used up, we get soil moisture deficit, and the plants will start to wilt and die, and this happens in late summer. You can now complete this task. You will get this handout next lesson, so you can leave about half a page to stick it in. Now I want you to analyse the similarities and differences between these two graphs. Things you can look for are the main pattern of each graph, and make sure you use data in your answer. So for example, the months, the amount of precipitation. Once you have done this, you can answer questions 2 and 3. You are now going to look at discharge and river regimes. Read the definitions and then answer the questions on the next slide. These are the questions that you need to answer, using Hodder and Oxford to help you. For question 4, you could have talked about when there is a soil moisture surplus and increased surface runoff, the river discharge will be high. If you remember when you did your water cycle diagram, we discussed the fact that surface runoff is the fastest way for water to reach a river. You need to make sure that you can fully understand flow data. I have also attached some guidance that I have recorded to help you with this. You can leave the next slide as we will look at it next lesson. Once you have finished all this work, I have also attached some recorded guidance for the Navrongo-Yound question, which you can now have a look at and add any extra detail into your answer.